So right now I'm trying to pick out dirt, and I don't know if I need topsoil, potting soil, like there's all these different kinds of dirt. And another thing is that because they're pretty heavy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick them up, so I'm going to have to get assistance. At least I'm pretty sure I shouldn't pick them up. So let's see how this goes. Oh, that was a bad idea. So what's happening here is I am painting my terracotta pots, and the reason why I ended up doing this, I didn't initially set out to do this, but I ended up doing this because first of all, one of the burdens of being creative is that it's very, very rare that you can go into places and find something that you just love. That it just you see it and you go, that's it, that's for me. When it comes to objects and stuff like that, because you have these ideas in your mind of what you're supposed to create. That's the way you're wired when you're a creative individual, like myself, which is a blessing, and it's also annoying and very inconvenient at times. So I didn't see anything I liked. I looked online. I went to like two or three different stores. I didn't see anything that I liked. No matter what the price range was, nothing was perfect for me. Um, and some of that stuff was really expensive, but I still didn't like it. So I decided to get terracotta because they're really cheap. These particular pots that I got at Lowe's were 98 cents a piece. This is not sponsored, obviously, because they were only 98 cents anyway. And I ended up getting the bottoms at Hobby Lobby. Ironically, I thought I was going to be able to like eyeball it with the water, and that's not the case. If you have a plant pot, you need the bottom, but somehow they're sold separately because the water is going to come out. Like there's no perfect way. Like it's just going to happen. But I found the bottoms at in a 6 pack at Hobby Lobby, and they were like $3.99, and I just happened to be there when they were half off, so it was like amazing, and so that worked out for me perfectly, and so that's what I did for the bottoms. But you won't see those till later because I ended up getting those after planting my plants because I realized I needed them, and so I went with that because they're cheap and they looked paintable to me. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just something about certain surfaces that look paintable. I'm like, that's very paintable. So I got those, and I went with my old nail polish method because nail polish tends to stick to everything permanently except for your fingernails. I've done t-shirts with it. I've done shoes that I've worn for several years. I don't even keep them in a box, and they still look pretty good. I've done a purse. I did some shoes for my mom. So I will grab some nail polish and Picasso anything, and I decided just to do the top rim because when I was doing research about painting terracotta, um, it the one of the steps they kept talking about was sealing, and that in several videos they talked about the difference between the sealers and how it will change the nature of your terracotta pots. And so terracotta, it basically, if you seal it like with the strongest sealer you can get, it will turn it into a ceramic, which is fine for plants, but it's not ideal because terracotta as cheap as it is, it's actually really great for plants because it really helps you maintain the perfect balance of moisture. It helps you to not get the plants uh, too wet and not to keep them too dry. It just has this way of just balancing things out. And so I wanted to keep as much of that as possible. And on top of that, with all of the funky colors that I ended up doing, it's actually better to do it this way because it'll fit in with different decors as I move my pots around to different rooms in the house, or even different houses or wherever where I may live in the future. So I decided to go ahead and just keep it simple like that. And I really like the way it looked, how it turned out, because it was really colorful and really unique, and it was very Felicia. And it still maintained kind of that organic plant gardening feel to keep that terracotta. So it actually just worked out perfectly for me to do it that way. Um, so yeah, and that's why I have so many nail polishes, because I use them for everything. You see, I don't even paint my nails. You know, I very rarely paint my nails, but I do keep my toes painted. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're talking about my plants. So yeah, and this process ended up taking me probably a couple of hours altogether, maybe two and a half, maybe one, maybe like 2 hours altogether. I ended up taking a break and having lunch and watching a movie or something like that, and then coming back and finishing up later that afternoon. So I didn't bother to record all of that. Number one, because I wasn't sitting exactly comfortable to try to be in front of the camera, but not only that, it was like, who is going to sit here and watch me paint pots? Like, there's going to be a limitation of time where people are going to be like, okay, we get it, you're painting the pot. So that's what's happening here. Um, oh, excuse me. So yeah, and while we have while we have a couple of minutes, I will say, take the time to say, make sure you continue to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because apparently I'm still going to be vlogging from time to time. I have a few different ideas in the pipeline. Still want to finish my rap that I did last Valentine's Day. I want to finish that because I like that song and I'm very inspired these days. So stay tuned to more blogs by Felicia, and thanks for watching. And definitely going to tell you more about these plants in earlier and later parts of this video. Um, but yeah, so that's what's happening. This process really got me really into it, even more so than anything else. And as much as I wanted to plant, now it's like I really feel like these are my babies, and so it was like these are their little outfits. They're so cute. It's so weird how the process of what has happened to me in growing these plants, and I've only had them for a couple of weeks so far. So yeah, I'm just gonna let the rest of this play out. Continue to watch because there's more to come. And I am outside. I think my neighbors probably think I'm a little weird, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I didn't inhale too many fumes in the making of these, or painting of these pots. Oh no. So what I'm doing here is planting my seeds. I started by putting some of the topsoil. I bought the cheapest topsoil I found at Lowe's. It was like $1.50 maybe. So the whole thing altogether probably was around about $20. The pots, the paint, all that. So anyway, I am putting the dirt in there, and then these tiny seeds, and they really look like the herbs that you buy in the store. That the dried herbs is what they actually look like. But I'm pretty sure there's something different. And they were like $2 or less per package, and there's six of those. Trying to take pictures of the seeds, but I won't post those because you won't be able to see them anyway because they're tiny and most of them are the same color as dirt. And Also, you can see the finished product on my paint job. I think they're really cute. And yeah, so that's what's going on here. Planting and watering. Um, Indoor plants, herb gardens, with the research that I did, they absolutely have to have sun. But if you don't have sun, you can buy UV lamps that give the plants the same thing that the sun has. Mine pretty much stay in a window, and I actually take them outside sometimes. Just like a little kid, I take them to recess and they sit out there for a day if the weather is warm enough. But it's early spring, so sometimes it's too cold, and they are always in the house at night so that they are safe with me. And yeah, make sure you tune in to part two because the upload was too long to do in one part to meet my plant babies after they have started growing. Peace. And there they are, planted.